All right, let's get into the next interview. We've still got some time. Everything up in there, obviously, with what's happening in Bloemfontein at the moment. But we've got to talk about transport. Now, the Minister of Transport, Fikile Mbalula, told Parliament that his department is currently working on several initiatives, which include the finalisation of the funding and tariff structure for the e-tolling system. Mbalula said they plan to scrap more than 63,000 taxis by 2024 as part of the recapitalisation programme. Addressing Parliament in the debate on the State of the Nation address on Wednesday, the Transport Minister added that rail reform is also a priority. Ayanda-Allie Paine, spokesperson for the Department of Transport, joins us now to talk about this. Ayanda, good to see you. Thanks so much for chatting to us.
Thank you so much, Leanne. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Good morning to you and to your viewers.
All right. So, Ayanda, obviously lots said. So let's first talk about the taxi recapitalisation programme. I mean, it's known that the taxi industry is truly a law unto itself. How is the Department of Transport planning on taking more than 63,000 taxis off the road by 2024 without causing friction?
Look, Leanne, I'll be honest with you. There have been some contention or some contentious issues raised by the industry with regards to the taxi recapitalisation. I mean, they talked about the numbers that were being paid out in terms of the figure, saying that it's too little. At times they were saying that the 2006 cut-off is too conservative, that they prefer cars to be scrapped even as a 2010 models, to say the least. But we are quite excited because we saw that with the Lekgotla that we came out of last year, there was more consensus. We're quite excited that we have the backing of Santaco and we have the backing of the taxi industry when it comes to taxi recapitalisation. And I must stress that the 62,000 vehicles that we're looking to scrap is just the bare minimum that we're hoping for way much more. And we do have the support from the industry. We're looking at scrapping not only your old minibus taxis, but also these converted panel vans. You'll remember that was a requirement by the public protector that these panel vans that were converted into taxis be removed from the road.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the taxi industry plays an immense role in the country's economy. So what as the Transport Department's substitute plan, what will it be if you do take all of these taxis off the road?
So this is the pleasure, I think, that we have as the department working with Treasury as well, that we're able to plow some finances and funds back into the industry by way of this recapitalisation program. We're looking at figures of 127,000, and this by no means is enough to buy a new vehicle, but it helps the businessman, because the taxi business is exactly that. It helps the businessman to be able to reinvest in their fleet. It helps them to diversify should they want to diversify. But it also gives an opportunity for other integrated transport systems to find expression. Your BRT, which will be expedited in 10 cities across the country, I must say, but also rail to take the fore. We are still in the interest of rail and looking forward to moving most of our goods and as well as your commuter transportation to rail.
Well, I just want to get a proper definition of what does scrapping. Oh, looks like we may have lost Ayanda. Let me just see if she's still there. Ayanda, are you still with us?
Do you pardon me, Leanne?
There we go. We lost you for a second.
People see you on TV and they want to talk to you.
I'm glad. All right, not a problem. I'm glad that you're still there. Ayanda, we just want to get a proper definition. Let's understand what is meant by scrapping all of these taxis, because it has been tried again. But then, of course, what happens is they go on different routes. It's more localized as opposed to what we currently see right now. So they're still there. They're not scrapped, but it's just a different plan. Talk to us what you mean by scrapping these taxis.
When we scrap the taxi, Leanne, and it's quite important what you've raised now, because we do see some modification of an old taxi where it has a different engine number and different documentation, and people refurbish these taxis as opposed to removing them entirely from the road. So when we scrap, we mean the entire history of that taxi and the actual body, the physical structure, the taxi itself is done away with. There is a plant that has been made specially available to receive all the documentation. If you want your vehicle to be scrapped, it has to have an operating license or a permit. You have to have been working with a particular association. The vehicle has to be prior to 2006 in terms of its make. You bring the vehicle in with all the necessary documentation. You get this vehicle taken out of your hands. It now no longer is your property. You get a subsidy of 127,000 Rand for you to invest in another vehicle should you wish to do so, or do whatever you please in terms of diversification. The vehicle then is completely destroyed. I mean, it's fascinating how this works. It goes from a very large taxi to literally just a square, a cube, that then becomes recycled and is turned into other products and services. So this vehicle no longer poses a hazard on the road. It no longer has the potential to kill anybody, because the minister has called some of these taxis moving coffins, as it were. So they no longer are in operation in terms of the taxi industry and in terms of the roads themselves. And so this is what we mean by scrapping, completely doing away with all the taxis that are hazardous and that are prone to breaking down, and completely allowing the businessman then to invest in their business on a new, a more sturdy vehicle.
Ayanda, as you know how the news cycle works, I've got to rush this on because we've got to go back to Bloemfontein for our story that really is a big one, with Ace Magashule appearing there this morning. But I can't let you go without just touching briefly on the contentious issue around the Etolls. We know what this is, how this has caused a lot of ire in society. How far is the funding and the tariff structuring process? What does this all entail? Because it's a big one. This is a big and very contentious issue.
It's a big issue, Leanne, you're quite right. It's a multifaceted issue as well, because it not only deals with the Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project, it's not just limited to Gauteng, it has ramifications on the psyche of the nation towards the user-paid principle. It also has direct impact in terms of how we're going to fund future road infrastructure development projects, and not to mention the huge burden and the cost towards the fiscus. So it's important that this one gets sorted out. Luckily, the minister has got huge support from his counterpart in Treasury, as well as the province. Those discussions and deliberations are well in full swing. The minister has made a commitment that by the end of this financial year, we're looking forward to a resolution and an announcement on the Etolls. Yes, we have been optimistic about this before, but the discussions, as you know, have progressed and has the support also of the head of state, the president, saying that these two ministers need to sit down and find a speedy resolution. So we look forward to making that announcement pretty soon.
All right, Ayanda, I know there's so much more to talk about, including this new driving rules that is coming into effect from June. We'll invite you back. We know that this is a conversation that's still up in the air at the moment. But Ayanda, thank you. Thanks for being with us this morning.